Another day, another Trident. However, this one is a little special. This is the very first tree grown using a method to try to create symmetric nebari. We're going to try to continue this today by employing the Ebihara method, which I'll explain during the video. The method I used on this tree was similar to the method used on the Trident maple in the previous video, but instead of letting this tree grow several heavy roots, I removed everything under the metal plate as soon as the tree started to form a callus above. This resulted in an even root base with no overly heavy roots. We need to cut about 8 feet off of this tree before we dig it. I'll leave a small leader on the back because I intend to let this tree thicken a lot after today's work is done. Although this will not be the next trunk section, it's always good practice to make a clean cut. Next, we will make a cut around the perimeter of the tree, and then we will make a pass underneath. Making a trench like this will give you better leverage if you're having trouble cutting a hidden root. This was harder to get out of the ground than I expected. Let's take a look at the nebari. I removed a few roots and rinsed the root ball off camera. You can see that overall, this tree issued many more roots from the trunk than the tree in the previous video. If allowed to grow freely, these roots will all eventually fuse and form a very attractive base. We want to make sure that we flatten the root base because we're going to attach this tree to a board and use nails and chopsticks to arrange smaller roots where we would like them. This is the basis of the Ebihara method. Consistency in this method will create the pancake-style nebari that is considered desirable. Now my goal for this tree is to have a very even nebari that still appears natural. I'm going to speed up this part because there's nothing different being done here. I'm just making sure that everything growing downward is removed and that the base will sit flat on the board when we place it there. If it isn't flat, the new root growth may actually push the tree up off of the board instead of growing outward. After reducing the roots, I used a wood screw going straight through the board into the trunk of the tree to securely affix it to the board. Now I can arrange younger roots how I want them by using nails or chopsticks to direct them. This is also the best time to uncross any of the roots that are small enough that you can do this by hand. Be careful not to damage these small roots, they are the foundation of the future nebari. This tree does not have many small roots to direct, but it's still a good candidate for this technique as its nebari is already well on the way to fusing. I'll show you what the finished product will look like at the end. As you can see, we have directed all roots to expand radially from the tree. We've used chopsticks to both keep roots from angling upwards and also to create a gentle undulation that will look nice as the roots grow and fuse. Now we will plant this tree back into the ground and encourage it to grow freely for the next 2 or 3 seasons. I've recently started putting turfs close to the trunks of the trees up into the ground because I've noticed that trees that have roots that pass through patches of turfs in my growing beds have an abundance of feeder roots in the turfs, and I'd like to try to replicate that close to the trunk. Every time that this tree has the roots worked, we'll repeat the process of arranging the roots on the board. It will eventually result in excellent nebari. This technique can also be used in a pot very effectively, and in fact that's where it was first used. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe learned something along the way. Feel free to comment if you have a topic you'd like me to discuss. Sometime this week, I'll release a video on proper seasons for repotting and wiring as requested in the comments of my last video. Thanks for watching. Until next time.